So Westray are very passionate, and you yourself are very passionate on a range of topics.
Yeah.
You've got the environment, you've got dogs, which someone mentioned before, and mental health, that kind of thing. Why do you feel it's important as a business to support those kind of things?
Well, the mental health thing came, obviously, some people might know that my father took his own life when I was 27. And to be honest with you, I never used to tell people how he died. I always... he got into a depression because he had a brain injury. So I always just said, oh, he had a brain injury and he died, because there was that stigma around it, and still is to a certain degree. Things have got better and we open up conversations about mental health, but it's nowhere where it needs to be. So there was that. Obviously, Ashley's had her own struggles as well, which she's spoken about. So, I'm not breaking any confidences there. She's talked openly about that. And plus, on our industrial and manufacturing desk, we work with a lot of young people, young men who struggle. And over the years, I've had people sit and cry to me because they're struggling. They've not got guidance, no role models. They've not been taught things, and they've got nobody to speak to. So, we have a big temporary workforce who go out and earn us money. So the least that we can do is to be there for them and to give them a space where they can come and open up and speak to us, and they do. And so with that in mind, we're just about to launch our Wellness at Westray initiative, which is predominantly for our temporary workforce, where they know they'll have a safe space to open up. We can signpost them to different places. We work with a wellness expert anyway for the business, for our internal personnel. So he's on board to help should we need him. But it's just to allow people that ability to open up, because sometimes all it takes is a conversation, maybe to allow them to have a cry, give them a cuddle, wearing masks, of course, at the moment, but, just to let them know that somebody does actually care for them and that we value what they do for us. And, we want to help them if they find themselves in that situation.
Yeah, I must admit, because obviously this is a business strategy podcast, so we talk about lots of kind of things that businesses either can do to help them differentiate themselves and that kind of thing. But almost it's the when you have passionate values on a topic and you're not afraid to talk about them, that in itself can be a USP. That there'll be people that watch this and resonate with that want to be involved, that can differentiate you against other people, but also because you've got the authentic story and the reason behind it. You're not just saying, we support mental health because it's cool to do it now and everyone else is. And I've got a former employee that did that, which is terrible. But it's almost the point is, it doesn't matter what, even if you make cupcakes, there are things that you can do with what you're passionate about, what makes you unique, etc., that helps you stand out in the marketplace.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, Steve, I find, because I'm a woman of a certain age, I grew up in the 70s, and, I touched on before what my relatives had been through. So I kind of grew up with that mentality, get on with it, etc., etc. And when you're brought up with that viewpoint, mental health can be difficult for somebody of my age to understand if you've not been exposed to it yourself. I've been exposed to it through my children, through my father. So it is a difficult subject for somebody to understand that's not being exposed to it. But I'm learning, and I know that kind of some people might look great on the outside, but inside they're dying.
Yeah. But almost what got me is that, so growing up, I didn't know anyone that had ever suffered with depression. I just didn't. And then when I was at uni, I kind of got exposed to it, but I was probably like 24 at the time. But it was new to me, and obviously being around someone that really suffered with it pretty badly, I grew up a lot in that time just because it was something brand new. That the way I originally handled it wasn't because I was mean or anything. I just didn't know what it was.
No, exactly.
But especially now, I've got very close family, and you hear very often a lot of people do suffer. And, sometimes 11-year-old kids that don't want to go back to school after COVID, or there's something going on. And it's heartbreaking. And it's
But so many people now, when I think back, kids would joke about the nutter that lived up the road or whatever. But these might have been people that had dementia or were suffering, with mental health. But we didn't talk about stuff like that back in the day. And now that even dementia, is out there, because that is awful. I mean, you just can't imagine what that must do to families, when they lose somebody to dementia. Yet they've not lost them because they're still here, but they've lost the person that they were. I mean, that just breaks my heart to think about that. But and that's why it's just so great now that we're having these open conversations. But, when we're in kind of Pride Month as well, that people can gay people can walk down the street holding hands and, do all of that stuff. We have come on so far